Okay, this is week 11, transport layer, cis 1103. We will discuss the client-server relationship, TCP, the difference between TCP and UDP, and port numbers. Okay, we have studied between the difference between peer-to-peer and client-server network. And in the client and server interaction, we use network services, okay, to communicate with other computers or other end users, and also to perform the routine tasks of the network. Okay. So the server is running applications that the client need to access. Okay. And the server is providing these services to other hosts or clients. And we have millions of servers on the internet. And these clients and servers, they interact following some standards and protocols, okay? These are examples of servers on the internet. Email, okay? The email server runs email server software, and the client uses the email server software to access their email. Then we have web server runs web server software, and the clients use browser software such as Windows Internet Explorer or Edge, Microsoft Edge, or Google Chrome or Firefox to access these pages on the server. We have also file servers. They store files, okay, and the users can download or upload files to the web server. So here, this is an example here. We have the client here, the end user is requesting a web page, okay, from the web server. Okay, so he opened his Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, okay, sends the request. The server on the other side will receive the request and responds by sending the requested web page back to the client. And a web server is usually in a part of the network with other servers. We call this server farm. And for security, for practicality, for efficiency, we put these web servers and email server in a location. It's called server farm, okay, or inside the data center. The two famous or most used transport layer protocols are TCP and UDP. Okay. So the web server and the web client, when they are communicating with each other, of course, they are following the TCP/IP protocol standards. Okay. So here we have some protocols that are used, such as the HTTP. Okay. This is used at the application layer. And then we have the TCP. This is used at the transport layer. Okay. And then we have the IP, which is used at the internet layer or the internet layer. Okay. Then we have the Ethernet, which is used at the network access layer, the network access layer. So here we have the layer protocols. As you can see under application, we have HTTP, FTP, DNS, SMTP is used for what? For email, okay? In transport, we have TCP, UDP, and network layer, we have IP, which is Internet Protocol. TCP reliability. TCP is a transport protocol, layer protocol. So a very important aspect to discuss about it is it reliable or not reliable? First of all, TCP is reliable. UDP is unreliable. TCP, it breaks up a message into segments, Then the segments are given numbers or numbers in sequence. They are passed to the IP process for assembly into packets. And TCP tracks the number of segments that were sent. Okay? And if the sender does not receive acknowledgement for in a certain time, certain period, it will wait for acknowledgement. If it does not receive, it will assume that this segment was lost, and it will resend it, okay? Retransmit it. On the receiving host, TCP is responsible for reassembling the message segments in order and passing them to the application. Is this clear? Any questions about this part? Okay. UDP, on the other hand, okay, we agree it's not unreliable, ولكن it is very fast. It is much faster than TCP. Okay, because in some applications, you are more caring about speed more than reliability. So UDP is a best effort delivery. Okay. It does not require acknowledgement or of receipt. UDP is preferable with applications that use time-sensitive technology, okay, such as streaming audio and voice over IP. VoIP يعني. VoIP uses UDP. And acknowledgement would slow down delivery, and retransmissions are undesirable. That's why UDP is faster. Okay. So here we can see a good example for DNS here. A client sends a request. What is the IP address to cisco.com? And the DNS server replies with the IP address. Okay. Right. What is port numbers? When a message is delivered using TCP or UDP, this request, okay, they are identified by port number. يعني you are sending a request to access a web server, a web page. This request is given a number so that it does not interfere with other requests. So a port is a numeric identifier within each segment that is used to keep track of specific conversation. And ports are assigned and managed by the ICANN. You remember we talked about ICANN. They manage the Internet Corporation for assigned name and numbers. And ports are broken into three categories. We have well-known ports. Who can give me an example of a well-known port? For example, HTTP, what is the port number? 80. 80, okay. Then we have registered ports. This is from 1024 to 49,155. Then we have private ports, okay. And these ports are used by an application. So these are the common port numbers. You need to know these numbers, please. FTP uses 24 data, port 21 for control. SSH 22, Telnet 23. SSH is secure, more secure than Telnet, of course. SMTP 25, and so on. For UDP, we have DNS 53, DHCP 67. We have also HTTP, it uses 80, and HTTPS uses port 443. So how does it work? The source port number is associated with the originating application on the local sending host. And the destination port number is associated with the destination application on the remote host. Source port dynamically generated by the sending device to identify a conversation between two devices. This process allows multiple conversations to occur simultaneously. Yani you can have HTTP running and you can have also another session for FTP at the same time, but they are using different port numbers. The destination port, the client places a destination port number in the segment to tell the destination server what service is being requested. The server responds to the request and sends information back to the sending device using the source port. So let's look here, very good example we have. Okay. Here we have the applications, and these are the protocols, and these are the associated port numbers. Port numbers are used in the transport layer. Okay. Any questions? طيب. What is socket? Socket pairs. Socket pair is the combination of the source IP address and source port number, or the destination IP address and destination port number. Okay, so here let's look at this example. This socket pair is used to identify the server and service being requested by the client. A client socket might look like this, but the socket on the web server looks like this, .100. This socket is for which service? Who can tell me? :80. Yalla. Who can tell us, please? It's easy. This one. 80 we said is HTTP. Okay. So these two sockets combine to form a socket pair. So the source port number acts as a return address for the requesting application. So this is the request. Please, this is very good explanation here. Let me maximize this. Yeah. So here we have the client or the source using port 1305. Okay. And the destination is port 21 because this is FTP. And the source also here is 1099 and the destination is 80. So this is a web service. Okay. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will answer